can't be dismissed as a calculation error. You knew failure was a possibility. Then why? Why?
I need answers.
Yes, it's decided. I will tell you the truth before we fight to the death. Would you like to know why I upended your life?
Speak.
This place is my demi-plane. I created it when I was a prisoner in Threshold. I would slip away to conduct my rituals here in secret. This is where I decided to create what mortals would later call the World Wound. This is where I made all my preparations. Do you understand? Escaping was never my goal. I could have easily disappeared from Threshold. I could have passed through it like water through sand. Some believe that I brought Sarkoris to ruin out of revenge, and I suppose there is some truth to that. I did have reason for revenge. You've been to the secret part of my laboratory and know what I'm talking about. Or at least you have an inkling. My laboratory. The old house in the middle of nowhere that marked the entrance to my lab. It was the home of Arilu Vorlesh when I was still a mere mortal. I lived there with my daughter away from the din of the crowd and sheltered from the keen gaze of the Sarkorian witch hunters. It was a place where the reality of our world was in close proximity to the abyss. A place where I could study the magic forbidden to all Sarkorians. I thought I had hidden my home well. But I was wrong. They found it. They found us. At that hour, I was there, in the laboratory. That damned laboratory I loved so much. I was absorbed in one of my experiments when the hunters arrived on our doorstep. I was sitting at my desk, recording my observations, thoughts, and calculations, as was my habit. That's when I heard the noise outside. The fight was brief. It barely lasted a moment. By the time I sensed that something was amiss and hurried out to see what was happening, it was too late. All I could do was cradle the body of my dead child and cry after their departing soul. I promise.
Why did they do it?
Because they saw her with a scroll she had secretly borrowed from my supply. She was trying to perform a forbidden ritual. Children, they're always drawn to the unknown. But for the Threshold hunters, this child playing with a magical trinket she stole from an adult was just as much of a criminal as the worst demon worshippers. I am not concerned with whether it was justified or not, or with the application of morality, the law, or the teachings of any god. Look around you. This demi-plane. The first time I escaped from my cell and ran here, I was trying to resurrect my daughter. I tried many things, but all my efforts were in vain. The soul had already received Pharasma's judgment and had been sent on the path determined by the gods into the abyss. And when I realized that, I rebelled. But not against my jailers, not against those who had murdered my child, not even against Sarkoris. My uprising was against destiny, death, and the laws that the gods had forced upon our lives. I realized then that I wouldn't be satisfied with simply returning my daughter to life. I had to shatter this order once and for all, and make it so that neither Pharasma and her lackeys, nor death itself, could ever stand between us. Only by stepping beyond the bounds of what had been ordained for mortal kind by obtaining powers that rivaled the divine, could we become free. And with this newfound purpose, I turned myself into a half-demon. Fusing the spiritual essence of the two planes was the only way I could achieve my goal. I let the abyss into my soul, and into this world. I opened the world wound. I danced around 3 demon lords, making them assist me without ever revealing my true intentions. They just believed they were dealing with another power-hungry mortal. But in reality, I was after one thing. I wanted to find what was left of my daughter's soul and give her a new birth. One that would prevent anything from ever harming her again. And then I found you. I chose you because I felt a faint affinity to you. I thought your soul could accept the remains of my daughter's soul, like the soil accepts a seed. I thought that I could bring back my child by tethering the mangled remnants of her soul to a pure mortal soul untouched by the abyss. I thought the power of the Nahindrian crystals would allow me to protect her forever. That I could tear her away from the dominion of mortal nature. But I was mistaken in both assumptions. Now I'm about to face the consequences of my mistake. You will witness them as well.
I won't let you hurt my friends.
Is this a mock fight?
This shit got me sucked in. Give me my last level.
I will help where I can.
You should not have come here. I, Arilu Vorlesh, the one you called the Betrayer, have nothing to offer you but death. Karamzadeh, I will give you the chance to avenge your death. Rise.
Curse you, mortal scum! You have struck ice into my heart. I will devour your souls to loosen its freezing grip.
Can we retreat already?
I'm off.
You, the irksome gnat that tried to bite me in Canabras and Iz. Your wings have taken you far, Gnat, but your flight ends today. I will rip off your wings myself, but first, I will tell you little realm to the material plane, and the material plane is but the first step on my path to heaven. I am more than a demon lord. I am the hunger of the abyss. No one shall stop me. Certainly not a mortal with stolen power.
Would have finished you in his, but you ran.
Would have. if you hadn't. Oh, the prideful fantasies of mortals. Dreams of what could have been if the world were different. Dreams that will shatter when confronted with this unflinching reality. The mortal has no chance against the great Discari.
What if I kill you again?
Discari fears nothing. This foolish mortal does not know what she is saying. Even if by some miracle she prevails in this battle, the immortal deity will simply return to his realm. For the mortal Nat, the price of defeat is her life. For Discari, it is merely a minor inconvenience.
Let's fight.
So be it.
Prepare yourself.
Another mission we need to discuss. What is this other mission? A return to the Abyss to defeat our old enemy Discari. Try to destroy our world. It certainly won't be the last. You're right, when this is all over, we'll go deal with Discari.
I'm trusting you.
This is where it happened. It was here that I conducted the ritual, sewing my soul and the essence of the abyss together, feeling the world change around me as every stitch brought Galarian closer to the abyss. And it was here that even though you have no memory of it, I did the same to your soul. A researcher must not have any personal feelings for the subjects of their experiments. And yet, I find myself unable to remain completely detached from the world wound. I created it. I allowed it to be. It holds a place in my heart, even if I'm slowly paying for it with my life. A researcher must be particularly resilient in the face of mistakes, incorrect hypotheses, and failed experiments. You are my failed experiment. I think I'll feel some regret for ending your current life, but you can rest assured that such sentiments will not stop me. You're so adept at magic. Of course, I've been preparing for our meeting. And hopefully I've prepared well.
You murdered the remnants of your daughter's soul of mine. Why arm me?
If a hypothesis is proven wrong, it needs to be rejected. But the research process does not stop there. That is all I can tell you right now.
You've done all of this to save your child?
Yes. And no. Even if I could have brought back my daughter, I wouldn't have stopped at that. I wouldn't have been satisfied. Not after what I'd gone through. Not after the things I'd learned. I wanted to become stronger, and I wished the same for my child. I didn't want to be afraid of anything. It wasn't the dogs of Threshold or even Sarkoris itself that threatened us. It was the laws of a world governed by death, weakness, and separation. That is why I needed the power of the Nihindrian crystals. I did not merely wish to stave off the agony of the wound. I wanted to tear my daughter from the grasp of everything that makes us weak and mortal. You have seen a goddess. You have been face to face with demon lords. Were you awed by their greatness? Do you enjoy living in a world where your entire life cycle has been predetermined? Where everything, from your birth to what will happen to your soul after you die, has been decided for you? Or do you find, now that you have experienced the mythic power coursing through your blood, that you prefer to live in a world that you can change? A world that offers you a chance to be anything you want.
Magnificent. I agree.
How strange. You are a kindred spirit. We are so alike. Perhaps the experiment wasn't such a failure in the end. But no.
Why do you call me a
No.
failed experiment?
When I poured what was left of my daughter's soul into your soul, I was expecting it to bring her back. They say death and the judgment of Pharasma purges the soul of everything it once was in life. But this cannot be true. I have researched this subject meticulously and have collected enough evidence to prove that supernatural beings born from mortal souls can recall their past. Sometimes partially, sometimes fully. I watched you day and night waiting for it to happen. For your memory to awaken, or your instincts at least. For anything familiar, something I could immediately recognize. I tested you. I asked you questions and nothing. Nothing.
You've been carrying the wound in your soul for a long time.
It will kill me eventually, but I still have some time left. Years, or decades perhaps. But it doesn't matter. One of us will die today.
What happens if one of us steps into it?
The tearing of the soul, followed by a cruel and terrible death. But it will likely be quick.
I have no more questions.
And it's finally time to end all this.
We can find a way without bloodshed.
Asking me to stop is like asking a river not to flow, or a volcano not to erupt. Death is not the end. I have spent 100 years trying to prove it, and I will not stop now. This experiment was unsuccessful, but that just means I need to adjust the initial conditions and try again. I am still alive. I still have time. You, the current you, will have to die, but only to surrender the soul you share with my daughter. I will start over. This time I will do everything differently. I will work with even greater precision. I will turn the world upside down if I must. I promise.
They did.
I never thought that I would be responsible for the creation of my most powerful enemy.
See you, SWTOR. Show yourself.
I've been waiting for you to get distracted, so I can stab you in the back.
You called me a failed experiment. What if you're wrong?
I would be overjoyed to discover that I am wrong. I tried to hope, even though there was no hope left. But wait, why do you care? Why are you trying to change my mind?
I want to know the truth. I want to follow it, no matter where it leads.
That thirst for truth and knowledge, that is so familiar. But what makes you think I will listen to your arguments? I have gone too far to turn back. I must walk the path I have chosen.
You are not mad or as fixated on your goals like others to believe. Or for the matter, as you'd like to believe. And like you care for Sudi, your ridiculous minion means something to you. You're just concerned about him.
Says you.
You think I'm wrong about you? Why? We are not talking about numbers, equations, and magical reactions. This is about the soul. About whether or not you have what I lost.
Remember when Sudir gave me the crossbow loaded with the midnight bolt in Canopus? I knew nothing of your fangs, yet already felt instinctively that that weapon was meant to be mine.
Yes, I remember. I wanted to check, to see for certain if it would awaken your instincts. I was so full of hope that day.
You came to me disguised as Yanio and asked me a difficult question, but I know I answered them correctly, the way you had hoped.
Yes, I was disguised as Yaniel. This was our first conversation face to face. I was desperate. I needed to know who you were, to understand what you were. I wanted to find out if there was anything about you I recognized.
In Noctua's palace, you offered me power, and I was more interested in the truth.
You hungered for knowledge. You desired the truth more than anything else.
When we spoke together, in the secret part of your laboratory, you asked me quite a few questions. It was like you were testing me. Did I pass?
Yes. I wanted to see if something would stir within you when you met my daughter's murderer, and when you encountered the one who betrayed me. But it doesn't matter. I asked you questions, you answered them, and I thought I could hear the echoes of the past in your voice.
You showed me several items in your laboratory. They belonged to your child, didn't they?
Yes. I was wondering if it would spark something in your memory. It was foolish of me, I know. And yet, you really did pick up my daughter's favorite belongings first. That's enough. I can see now. It was naive of me to think I could just revive my daughter the way she was before her death. But there is so much of her in you. So much of me. I can't think of you as anything but my child. I have wandered in the dark for so long. But now I finally see clearly. I know how my path must end. The wound still erodes your soul, as it does mine. Let me put an end to my creation. Let me step into the flames and perish, so that I can heal you.
I'm sure there's another way, just hear me out. If we work together, we might be able to find another way to close the wound.
All these years, I've been playing a game with mortals and forces beyond mortal comprehension. But now I am a pawn in your game. I do not know your next move. I can't even imagine what plan you have in mind. So explain it to me. One step at a time.
I deciphered your notes of the lexicon. Know that this mythic power is supposed to protect us both from death.
I see I was right to leave the lexicon in a place where you could find it. Yes, that is correct. We've reached the limits of our power. I did so long ago, and you've realized your full potential only recently. Mythic power cannot be made any stronger. At least, I have not been able to do so successfully. That means we are now living on borrowed time, counting down the days until we die from the wound's influence.
We received our mythic powers from the Nahundrian crystals, but the crystal mined in the depths of Midnight Elves, are not only ones that exist. Freshly shed blood from a demon lord. Have you tried extracting mythical power from crystals created in that way?
No, I have not. I haven't had the chance. It was in Canobris that I had my first chance to test the improved version of the Midnight Bolts against the demon lord Descari. The crystal dagger you found in Canobris was the first Nahindrian crystal that was procured in such a fashion. I gather that you know more about them than I do.
I've studied the notes and papers that I found and seen hidden in your secret party laboratory. You believe the world wound works both ways. It has the same impact on adjacent areas of the abyss as it does on Kalora.
Yes, I am sure that is the case. I have evidence from my experiments. The wound affects the material plane, poisoning it with the corruption of the abyss. But it also affects the abyss, bringing in a small amount of order and harmony from the material plane. The only reason it is not as apparent in the abyss is the presence of the demon lords. They hold near infinite power over their realms, and their existence staves off the wound's influence.
The sword of valor changed when it came in contact with me. I believe it's a sign. The same relic changed in Iomede's influence, which is on the path to godhood. If the sword could foresee her ascension.
Yes, indeed. The Sword of Valor was Iomede's banner before she passed the test of the Starstone and ascended to heaven. I've never studied the Sword of Valor. Perhaps I should have. It is a truly fascinating artifact, and the way it interacts with you is incredible. Could it have picked up the early signs of your nascent divinity? I do not know.
Put it all together. It's fair to assume that the mythic power has limits, but there is always a way to push the boundaries of what's possible. Now we have a way to do that through the power of Nahindrian crystal. But it can't just be anyone. It must be one created from the blood of a recently slain demon lord. And that demon lord's realm needs to be in contact with the world wound.
It's unpredictable and dangerous, but all bold plans carry risk. What you propose might work. Whoever absorbs the power of a newly killed demon lord will inherit their realm in the abyss. If we throw in a connection to the wound, we will end up with something unique. You will have the power of a demigod and an abyssal realm that changes at your whim. Yes, your plan might work. I see no reason we shouldn't at least try. But how? There are only 3 demon lords whose realms are tied to the wound. Baphomet, Discari, and Nocticula. I doubt we'd be able to carry out a cunning murder of the Lady of Cunning and Murder. As for Baphomet and Discari, after the lessons you've taught them, they will never risk another engagement. They'll engage in clever maneuvers. They'll hide, but they won't face you in battle.
I learned to seek from Hepsamira. The archpriest of a demon lord can summon their master in a moment of danger, and they're bound to appear. We could lure out Baphomet and Discari.
They are bound to appear? I didn't know that. No wonder demon lords are so careful about choosing archpriests.
The Echo is dead. You were once second to him. That means you are now the Archpriestess of Discari.
Correct. And the Locust Lord still hasn't deprived me of his favor. He should have done that a long, long time ago.
And you were second to Hepsamira. Now she's dead. That makes you the Archpriestess of Baphomet.
Yes, it is true. Baphomet outsmarted himself when he granted me power and patronage behind Discari's back.
Both Baphomet and Discari were killed recently. They returned to their life, but now they are in mortal forms. If we kill them again, their realms will no longer be under their power or influence.
And I could summon them. No, it's still too much of a risk. The world wound is more than a rift. It has a life of its own. To accomplish the plan you have conceived, we would need to channel an immense current of power through it, all the way to the realms of the demon lords. It would be 100 times more difficult than simply closing the wound.
Studied the records kept by stargazers of Blur. I know that there are certain days when the influence of the wound is at its strongest.
It's remarkable that the worshippers of Pelura were able to discern this. Yes, you are correct. Such days do exist, but they occur very rarely. Only once or twice a century at most.
Today is such a day. I made sure to arrive just at the right time.
I can't run the full calculations right now, but I think you're right. This is the day when the wound is most malleable. We could shape it as easily as a master potter molds soft clay.
So what are you waiting for? Summon Baphomet and Discari. The time has come for mortals to challenge the Lords of the Abyss, and will surpass them in every way.
I have one final question for you. Do you have a new Nahindrian crystal in your possession? Without one, this whole plan is doomed. Unless, of course, you happen to have a midnight bolt. If so, we can procure a crystal right now. They are Nocticula's weapon of choice. She infused the bolts with a small amount of her power, making them deadly to the Abyssal Lords. I've changed their properties so that if a demon lord is hit with a bolt, their blood and life force will form a new Nahindrian crystal. Prior to my alterations, the crystals would only form inside the bodies of the demon lords that were slain in the Abyss. A process that took centuries.
I have a bolt right here.
Then let us begin. I do love interesting challenges. Discari, Lord of the Locust Host, Aurilu Borlesh calls to you, as I once called before from within these very walls. I am the first of your servants, and I summon you. Come! Baphomet, Lord of Beasts and Labyrinths, heed the voice of Aurilu the Witch. You accepted me into the ranks of your servants, and I summon you now as the first among them. Come! 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 Come!
How curious. The gnats have decided to set a trap for me. You have spun out your betrayal like an intricate web, but it will take more than that to bring down the hunger of the Abyss.
First, my daughter failed me, and now my chosen mortal favorite does the same. Aurilu, do you not see that this alliance with your mortal creation will give you nothing? You could have served the greatest of masters, yet you chose to be the puppet of your own creation.
Enough, Baphomet! You are wasting your time on words when the time for words has long passed. We shall fight those who have challenged us and obliterate them. Discari has spoken.
You pose a threat, y'all must.
You are correct. I am a threat. And once I'm finished with you, my scythe will sweep across your world, starting with the allies you've brought here.
You believe yourselves to be our masters. You think you will be our doom. But you've never been anything more than a source of power. We will drain this source to the last drop.
You won't survive me.
It is done. The road to greatness lies ahead. All that remains is for you to use a crystal.
I conducted some studies on engineering crystals. The research shows that newly created crystals can interact with one another. If you have 5 of them, you can merge them into one immensely powerful crystal. What do you think would happen if I used a crystal like that?
I can only guess. The regular crystals allowed you to impart some of your power to your followers, those whose souls were closely tied to yours. It is likely that an improved crystal would let you endow your companions with a small amount of the demigod-like power you are about to receive.
Managed to acquire 6 crystals. I'll share them with my companions, and I'll give the last one to you. All of us will venture into eternity together.
Ascend together? And live without fear of gods or demons, exploring the infinite world. You truly want this. I can't believe it. But I will grant you your wish.
Life and death, destiny and great deeds, answers to mysteries. The search for one's true path, the mind can comprehend all of these, and then such concepts can be written down. As sequences, a formula, a series of lines, a chain of thought. So still a moment always comes when it is time to wrap up, to reach a conclusion, to put a period at the end of the last sentence. On the day of the greatest battle at the fortress, a new name joined the divine pantheon of Glorian. Contrary to the laws of creation and the limitation posed by mortal kind, the individual once known as the commander of the Fifth Crusade attained greatness, power, and immortality. This new power is likewise assumed by both the commander's loyal companions and the writer of these words. We all received might comparable to that of the heralds of demigods. Like the sun breaking into thunderclouds, a radiant bastion of good and order emerged in the darkness of the abyss as the former realms of Baphomet and discard became the commander's realm. The commander's story became legend, one that was spread far and wide in the songs of bards. The tale fell upon the ears of many, those eager to convert to the new faith and those who nursed ambitions of replicating the commander's achievements. It is no exaggeration, then, to declare the commander's ascension on that day changed the world forevermore. The impact the commander made upon the world was not confined to the elimination of the wound. Across all of Glorian, thousands of hearts were now aglow with the light of compassion. Songs and legends about the commander spread across nations and cities, giving hope and to despondent, urging people to help each other in times of need. The holy wardens preserved their brotherhood, and would often launch raids against cultists and demons. The two seasoned paladins, Aniel and Berengar, came to enjoy each other's company in battle and peace. Their age, similar personalities, and usually brought them closer together. Whenever they appeared, they'd always be followed by a crowd of young warriors. Despite Qatar's effort, word that he was alive quickly spread among the Skorian refugees. It eventually reached the ears of his wife. She had grown old but still lived, and one day they'd meet again under the stone tree. Alengia, who had given up her entire life to duty, devoted herself to the revival of the former lands of Socorus. The Temple Plur and other Socoran deities opened their doors once more. As for the leader of the Crusaders, the commander won their loyalty and obedience. Even in the Crusade's darkest hours, the commander found a way to restore the army's supply lines. Her military acumen was beyond question. Under her leadership, the divided, poorly trained were reforged into an invincible army. Due to the success of the diplomatic strategy, Mendev's true political center was Dresden, not Neurosin. After gaining the support of foreign rulers and finding allies in the capital, Dresden became a shining example of the new Mendev, one that was nurtured by the commander's ideas. The significance and accomplishments of the Crusades were so great that even a century after the war, Dresden retained its prominence on the Avestan map. The commander's diplomatic, military, and administrative talent turned the fortress into a key political player. The queen returned to Neresten with the intent to rule Mendev as before, but as it turned out, Mendev was hungry for change. The war-ravaged nation desired new leadership, but the queen would not countenance yielding her authority to anyone else. She believed her duty to her homeland had not been fulfilled. But upon his return to Knobber's, Raimi did all he could to heal the wound left by the war. The city fought an influx of pilgrims who wanted to be close to the glory of the Crusaders. The last of those pilgrims was followed by spies, criminals, and cultists. The Eagle's Watch was barely able to keep up. The ward stone from the chain that was once guarded the borders of Menditz were carefully disassembled. One by one, the angels that had been trapped returned to heaven to heal their wounded spirits and prepare for new battles. The Lady in Shadow found a way to benefit from the situation. The magnanimously accepting warriors from the destroyed army, she significantly bolstered her might in the Midnight Isles. Few realized the commander had effectively foiled her plans. With her decision to keep the passageway between the Abyss and Glorian open, the lady began preparing her defenses in secret. She knew sooner or later the invaders would appear in her realm, it mattered not whether they would be demons or mortals. Baphomet was too cunning for his own good and died. His final death, rumor says that upon hearing of Baphomet's demise, Asmodeus himself permitted himself a satisfied chuckle. Demon Lord Discaria also died his final death, and his cult perished with him. His followers and demonic minions entered the service of Discari's sire Pazuzu. Whenever Pazuzu's terrifying rage stemmed from his offspring's demise, or from his failure, none can tell. The commander's escapades in the Ocean era left a lasting impression on Zenison. Under Zeklak's management, the Metapus gradually fell into decline. Audiences grew bored of ordinary fights. The danger closed down to the lack of Meadows, realizing his talents as a steward would never be appreciated. He sold it. The unfurther killing of his Red Mask continued his purge, assembling squads of assassins. Elendra returned to the Temple of Polaris Fall and resumed her service to the goddess. Pilgrims began to arrive, both to worship the goddess and honor the memory of her fallen defenders who had held the line. Many of the pilgrims remained to help restore it and purge the surrounding lands of undead. Yashmara was true to her word. The Winter's Run clan left the lands of their ancestors. Once they had left the borders of the former Sakars, the clan split into several branches. One went to the wildlands of Demeria. Some set off for Marissa, and a small, led by commercial travel to Endoran. Whether they were lost among the refugees fleeing the other lands and other wars, the Winter's Run clan ceased to be. The Tira Blades were adamant about retiring from military service, leaving it all behind and escaping together, but urgent business forced them to stay for a week, and then for a month and many years. As even a curse, and maybe a curse their lot. To shine with pride, as they were not always the first to admit that Erebus was not the kind of person who would get up and retire. The Heaven Heritage returned to the halls of heaven, his heavenly mistress. It was given to him to forgive himself for his transgressions and his fault, but there were still many places left throughout the multiverse where the evil dwelt, and injustice was being wrought. The Herald could not abide it. He picked up his sword once again and rose in the defense of the weak. The commander's decision to destroy the Marian device she captured from the Blackwater clan encampment had dire consequences. Rean's intelligence tales some to the Abyss and back, the crusade through the eyes of a former cultist. The book was banned in several countries and a bounty was placed on her head. For many years he continued to wander, attempting to hunt down his daughter. Landed on an old road where the Hailers saw a group of monsters attacking his family. He managed to save only one of them, a young girl who had been orphaned. He took her in as forced to temporarily halt his search. The loss lasted for a month and a year. Bending his hopes, reuniting, he found new purpose in caring for another. Sounds good. The storyteller, as old as the tales he collected, continued his travels across Glorian. He knew that out there somewhere. Okay, I didn't find his stoops. Ascension enhanced Sella's power, but did not change her character. Whatever that word is, regularly seen in the company of good gods, from Caden Kalin to Kalingia Zurista. Rumor has it that Amade herself often honors her with heart-to-heart conversation and joint training sessions. Goddess enjoys reminiscing about her mortal days. Most importantly, Selenos never stops thinking of caring about the common folk in need. Man's Ascension left him perplexed. He had intended to die in the war against the demons, but instead he was suddenly granted eternal life. He had no idea what to do with it. After getting some advice, he made a to-do list. Go on a sea voyage, learn to read and write, and of course defeated a few hundred more demons. Ascension was a true challenge for Ember. For years she had rebuked the good gods for doing so little to help mortals, but now she finally understood the burden of divinity. Realizing that even her new powers were not enough to save all who suffered, she went to heaven to her grandma, the Imperial Lord Endoletta, and asked her to be her apprentice. But she continued to visit the mortal world to aid the defenseless or to convince a villain to change their ways. Nino wasn't in my party. Now could just cover 5 years to invert Numerian boundaries. Okay. In his former life, he had been both a man of a deity and Ascension. He always worshipped me. After the Ascension, Social went to Nirvana to appear before Shelyn in person, but he didn't stay long. Just went to see when he was a mere mortal, the servant of the goddess, could not enjoy the peace of a fragrant garden when the blood was still being spilled. The soldier's angel is now his new moniker, would eagerly answer prayers and appear on the battlefield to heal the wounded or carry them to safety. Many memories were engravings. Nice, sound good. Definitely solved the problem with the Abyss. Even dispels his studious Regal in turn found the discipline of the ranks and house to be somewhat lacking. For the longest time, the Ascended Succubus could not bring herself to set foot in Elysium. She felt that she could defile it with the presence. Erushale mustered the courage to appear before Desna only after the goddess sent her a prophetic dream. No one knows what the form and demons discussed with their goddess, but after meeting, Erushale would often discuss the material plane, where as an unseen angel, she would keep watch over mortals, helping those who had gone astray. When the former demon was not busy helping mortals, she spent time with the commander who often visited her at her house. They had nothing to hide or be ashamed of, and yet, in her shyness, Rush tried to conceal their relationship from prying eyes. "This is our Elysium," she would say. "Yours and mine, and no one else needs to know about us." After some time passed, the babbling of children could be heard from Erushale's cozy house. With the children's arrival, the commander and Erushale's happiness only grew. Oh my god. Yo.
And what of me, the writer of these words? The half-demon witch known as the architect of the world wound. I gained more than I could have hoped. I achieved my purpose. I vanquished death. Untold might and all eternity lie ahead. How should I spend that eternity? I have not yet decided. But I know, from experience, I know that every moment is priceless if it is spent with the one who matters most to you. I have recounted the story of my life for you, Pharasma, Lady of Graves. Not only of my life, but of the commander's also. I believe the tale of such an illustrious figure would pique even a goddess's curiosity. I have come here to say that she and I are no longer in your power. This is the last, most significant result of my transformation experiment.
She is no longer within my power. This is true. Divinity has given her the right to decide her own fate. But you entered my boneyard to bring me these tidings. And it is within my power to unmake you, destroy you, and erase you from the cosmos. I wonder, did she anticipate such an outcome? Did she purposefully choose you to be her emissary?
I have relayed my message. Farewell, Lady of Graves. We will not meet again.
Their combined power has grown immensely, enough to almost rival my own. So be it.
It's a fucking fire story and a fire campaign. And that was Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Thank you so much for watching. I mean, the second the next one's released, I'm playing it. The story of the first game, the second game, these were just such fucking excellent stories. But thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.